Thank you for that introduction. Great. Wow. First of all, it's awesome to be here. The energy, the positive energy with this group is palpable. It's great. So thank you for having me. Couple things. I am a lifelong gamer. How many people here are lifelong gamers? Whether it's board games or video games, we all played games. And there's currently a very popular video game that's out there. You probably have it on your phone. It's Pokemon Go. How many people have Pokemon Go on their phones? Okay, Pokemon Go is being played by kids this tall and kids this tall. It is the biggest video game maybe in mobile gaming history. And what's interesting about the game Pokemon Go is it has a lot in common with life. Because life does not come with a set of instructions. And neither does the video game Pokemon Go. It's a video game that has no instruction manual to it. And I've always found that fascinating. It's one of those games that has a sense of discovery. You really need to learn how to play that game, just as we learn how to do things in life. And I've had kind of a strange career. I want to segue where I can teach you guys, I think I put it in the description, how to write a book, and maybe why you would write a book. No one told me how to write a book. I had to figure this out for myself. And how many people here have thought about, maybe one day I'm going to write a book? How many people have actually written a book? Keep your hands up. A couple of people. Oh, this is great. Well, you can leave. No problem. But I dropped out of college 2 years into college, and what I love saying whenever I go to the campuses of USC or UCLA, where my book is required reading, I like to say that I'm a college dropout. And I had to teach myself how to write a book. Now, what are the reasons why you would want to write a book? Well, I can tell you a couple things. One, it's a great passive source of income, right? You can write a book, and then you can go off and get a job, and suddenly you're still getting these little bonus checks in the mail. I get direct pay from Amazon. Every couple months, I get money from them for a couple of different books that I've done. Random House, I wrote a book for Random House. I get checks from them every 6 months. Great passive source of income. The second thing is, it also distinguishes you as an expert in that area. So if it's a tech book for academia, your book may be, with the colleges that buy my book, they buy hundreds of copies of my book every semester. Now, how do you write a book? Where do you start? I'm going to give you a couple sources of information that actually ties into gaming, because what I like to do with myself whenever I accomplish something is give myself something of a reward. And when I was writing my first book, I was obsessed with a video game called X-Wing, which was put out by LucasArts. And it was created by a guy named Lucas Holland. Okay, this is in the late 90s. Some of us remember the 90s. Okay. I would reward myself by being able to play a mission of that game every time I wrote 1,000 words. But I had to write 1,000 words. Now, I want to give you guys a little pro tip too. I send a lot of emails. I do a lot of Facebook and social media posts. And I use a web-based application called Grammarly. Has anyone ever heard of Grammarly? Okay, I love Grammarly. I love Grammarly not only because it makes me sound smart and I avoid mistakes, but also it keeps track of my statistics. So on a weekly basis, I get a report that tells me how many words I've written in 1 week. Recently, I checked my statistics, and I wrote 74,000 words on the internet in 1 week. That's crazy statistic, because your average book is between 50 and 60,000 words. That means that anyone here, if you write emails, if you write posts, you are capable of writing a book. Because if you quantify, a lot of people think it's a daunting task. The first book I wrote was called The Ultimate Film Festival Survival Guide. Now what you want to start with is you want to start with a great title for your book. Most titles are 1.2 words. So the shorter, the better. Also, rules are made to be broken. So however long your title is, the Ultimate Film Festival Survival Guide is actually, it's written for independent filmmakers. It's how to get your movie into a film festival, and it's how to sell your movie at that film festival. The book was read by Morgan Spurlock, who I met at the Sundance Producers Conference, who walked right up to me and said, "Thank you for writing your book. It helped me get my movie into the Sundance Film Festival." In addition to, I met Jeremy Kuhn, who was the producer of Napoleon Dynamite, who also used my book, and then of course I recruited the two of them to write sections for my book in order to disseminate information to filmmakers. So you want to start with a great title for your book, right? Come up with that title. And I'm really good at coming up with titles for books that aren't books that I write. So if you need a good title for your book, come up to me, I'll help you out. But what you want to do then is you want to start with that title, and then on the back of every book, and just to describe for people in the audience that don't know what books are just like the internet, but on really thin slices of wood. That's what a book is. But the point is that, we talk about the death of the book industry. There's no death of the book industry. It's just that people are reading them less on paper. They read them on Kindle, or if you're like me, I listen to an audiobook once a week. Yes. I walked here, actually. I live about 3 blocks away. So I walk 5 miles a day just to keep myself in shape. And I listen to audiobooks. I'm obsessed with them. Stephen King actually puts out a list every year of the top 10 best audiobooks of the year, based on who reads them and the work itself. So if you can Google that, you'll get some great suggestions of audiobooks. I'm obsessed with them. I'm very well listened. I like to tell people that. So the point is you start with your title, and then every book, if you browse in the bookstore or online, they all have a description on the back. That description on the back tells you what the book is about. If you're going to write a book, you need to take this paragraph, you need to write your own version of that paragraph. What is your book? My book is X title, and here's my paragraph about what the book is about, right? And then secondly, you need to break it down. Now, this is the thing I spend the most time on. I usually spend 6 months on my book outline, and I spend about 1 to 2 months actually writing the book. So I'll tell you how I do that. I do a very intensive outline of my book. I outline about every 250 words. So here's a title chapter, right? Now, how might you look up what an outline for a book looks like? You can look in the chapters of books, especially tech books. They all have chapters, right? 12 chapters, 24 chapters. What are your chapters? Now, what are your subjects within those chapters? You're going to create an extremely detailed outline, which means you're doing research, you're thinking about what's there. So by the time that I actually get to the point where I'm writing the book, I already know it. I always write in the morning, early in the morning, sometimes before the sun comes up, and I don't write for more than 3 hours, because if you write for more than 3 hours, you're just going to be looking at a blank screen. And in that early morning, sort of between wake up and I'm still drinking coffee or whatever, there's sort of that, it becomes like muscle memory after a while. If you can discipline yourself to get up every morning to write no less than 1,000 words. On my good days, I'll write 3,000 words. If you can write a detailed outline, and you can get up every morning 5 days a week, working 3 hours, writing 1,000 to 3,000 words a day, at the end of your month or 2 months, you'll have written a book. It's not difficult for anyone here in this room to do, especially since Grammarly just told me I wrote 74,000 words in 1 week, just doing posts on Facebook and sending emails and whatnot. It's something really easy you can do. Now, one of the great things also about writing a book, after I wrote this book, The Ultimate Film Festival Survival Guide, and the latest edition is, there's a 4th edition of the book that's from Random House. After doing that, I became an expert about film festivals, because really I'd spent so much time in that world. Writing this book was like a matter of really it's for me about honing the information, especially for something that's nonfiction. So I've been hired by film festivals to be a consultant. I was the program director of the Sonoma Valley Film Festival for 2 years, where John Lasseter was on our board, which was awesome. I got to go to his house and hang out with John, which was fun. But But the point is that there are other opportunities that come from writing a book in terms of promoting your expertise. So, frankly, I've made more money doing things outside of the book because of the book than actually writing the book itself. So because I read this really sad blog post recently that was that said that basically that writing is a hobby. You can't make money with writing. And I kind of half agree with that. That really it's these other opportunities that come from writing books that I think make it worthwhile. I wanna rush through this to get to the Q&A portion because I can feel your questions. I also wrote another book. Now there's a thing they call Vanity Press. It's very easy. Vanity Press is you can publish your own book. This is a book called Internet is My Religion. I got this book at a Comic-Con. They gave it away for free, and I'm going to give it away to you because you sat in the front, which means you're very. But that's an example of a book that you can self-publish, right? You've got so many opportunities to digitally publish your book on Amazon. In so many sources. So I put out a self-published book, and I'll tell you what happened with this book. It's like a letter from Oprah's lawyer. I wrote a book called Celebrities Poop. It's a parody of the book Everyone Poops. Anyone here have kids? You have kids. Even if you don't have kids, you might know the book Everyone Poops. It's one of the top 10 selling children's books of all time, done by a guy named Taro Gomi. And my daughter did the illustrations for this book. It's 46 beautiful paintings of celebrities pooping. Donald Trump is in the book 3 times. And in the book, the opening says, Oprah makes a big poop. Justin Bieber makes a small poop. It's a page-for-page parody of the book Everyone Poops. Now, I self-published this as a way to promote my comedy album because if you buy this, nobody buys CDs anymore, right? So I thought, well, I'm going to create this funny book, and then in the book you get a digital download code to download my comedy album, and that's how I marketed it and promoted this book. Well, after putting this book out and selling it on Amazon for a few weeks, I got an email, and I'll tell you exactly what the email was. It was from Brand Protect at harpoproductions.com. Brand Protect was from Oprah's lawyer. Okay, now they shut down my listing on Amazon, which I was very upset with, and I was like, oh my God, fuck Oprah for doing that to me. You can bleep that on YouTube, I hope. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't make this a... Screw Oprah. I'm so angry at her. Then I got into this nice discussion with Oprah's attorney, who said, look, we have no problem with you doing this parody satire with Oprah taking a poop in your book. You just can't use Oprah's name in the promotion of your book. So if you can take Oprah's name out of the description in Amazon, you can continue to sell the book. So I rewrote the description, I took her name out, and Celebrities Poop is available on Amazon.com. And it's also available as an audiobook, and it's also on iTunes. So the thing is, I've sold like about 4,000 copies of this book and album, and it's been this passive source of income, and it's kind of a fun story. But I just want, by example, to inspire you guys. I've done everything from a children's book to a book that's been adopted by academia, and these are completely achievable things if you break them down into the base thing, and if you turn it into a game for yourself, which is what I always do. That's my personal motivator. I always give myself a reward when I do a good job. So I hope that you guys do the same. And I really want to thank you guys for having me here. If you have any questions too, be happy to answer them. And thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Chris. Kindred spirit here, because I did something similar to that, except I did public shaming. Of myself, volunteer on Facebook. I said I was going to write 600 words a day. Nobody even cared. Nobody commented on it. But it was this like public accountability thing. Gamification, by saying there's this game I really want to play, but I'm not going to play it until I write a minimum number of words, is awesome. I think that's really great. And I just love hearing the story of how I didn't even think about that. Taking books and that opening up yourself to other gigs, not just the individual income that you get, that passive income, but establishing yourself as an expert in your field. I think that's really novel. I don't think I've ever thought of that before, so that's really great. Opening up to Q&A right now. So if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get it answered. John will walk around with the mic. Save your comments and your stories for offline. Will you be hanging out with us for a little bit?
I'm hanging out. I love it.
Okay,
Great.
Awesome. All right, so if you have a question, raise your hand.
Thank you, John. Chris, great presentation. What would be the next 3 milestones in terms of gaining expertise at your 3 next big film festival opportunities?
Oh, wow. Let's see. I always, interesting. I like to go to film festivals, and my whole thing is I go in with sort of no agenda. I just go there to meet people and meet kindred spirits. In terms of milestones, I don't know. I've traveled all over the world, a lot of different film festivals, and I want to do another edition of this book. And just here, when I was hearing the stories before, the thing that kind of inspired me is one of the things I would like to do is create a database of every film festival in the world. And I did one. Can I tell you how I did it? So I did this weird thing where I initially did this database and it's completely out of date and I need to redo it. But what I did was I went to a college and I did a speaking engagement and I got a bunch of college students and I bought them pizza and then I bought a PS3, okay, and there was going to be a raffle. And I got 40 students to come in and I showed them a database online. We created a database and they would go to the website for the film festival. They would enter the name, the website, the dates of the festival, the basic information, and they would upload it to a server. So I had 40 people, and I estimated that it took them 10 minutes to do each data entry. So over the course of 2 hours, 40 students, it's all math, right? So like 40 students doing 6 film festivals an hour, that's almost like 500 film festivals, and then at the end of it, I gave away a PS3. So for less than $1,000, I was able to get the base data entry for my film festival database created, and I would like to do that. So that would be like that's something that I really need to do, and I'm just looking at the resources that are here. I could probably meet someone here who could help me with a database. I'm like the gentleman who spoke earlier, I'm ideas guy, I'm like come up with sort of creative ways to accomplish something. For me, that problem solving is how I game, right? But I'm not a tech guy. So maybe there's a tech guy that can help me rebuild this database, but that's how I did it, was basically offering a prize. And it would have cost me a lot of money just hiring a company to do database entry, but I had college students do it for a PS3. So, yeah, thanks. And pizza, yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about your experience with Amazon and how you came across your pricing model for your books and a bit about what kind of spread that gives you?
Yeah, well, I like Amazon because most people are on it because it's one click and I've ordered something, right? I mean, this cost me about 40 cents. I sell it for $9.99. I put that the MSRP is $19.99, but people don't want to pay MSRP. They want 50% off, right? But I don't know. Everything is actually on the Amazon website, and it's so simple to go on there. But I did hire a woman who did a digital version of the book, and I do recommend that. She did a digital version so that it's available across all platforms. And then I even did an audiobook version of this, which it's crazy that people buy the audio version. It's seriously, on audible.com, it's me reading the book to a group of 200 people at a Comic-Con in Phoenix. So you can hear the audience laughing, and I actually just go through the book and read it. And it's only about 4 minutes. But people still buy it for 99 cents. So what my whole goal with this book, it was a cross-platform project. iTunes, Amazon as a physical book. But it's really just sort of pricing out like what it cost me to print, 4,000 copies, getting that. Yeah, I source locally, so I had a local printer do it. I know that you can get printing done much cheaper in China. I prefer to go local. And then, I don't know, it's just coming up with, your math problem to get that so you have a little bit of profit.
You mentioned that you use the vanity press method, and also the
For some projects, yeah, I think that makes sense.
and you also use major publishers like Random House.
Correct.
Do they require that you use an editor, and how do you work with an editor after you spent all this time pouring your soul into your book?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, usually the editors are looking for due diligence. They're looking for legal red flags. So I love working with the editor. The editor I worked with at Random House was great, and I worked with some great editors before with some smaller boutique publishers. I like partnering with a publisher because they're sort of your marketing partner. You know, I've got a large social media audience, so I use that as like I sort of come with added value when working with a publisher. But then a publisher can get me bookings and get me a lot of press. As far as working with the editor, it's really just them going through. They'll send me a very long email, a PDF of the book with things red flagged. And like I have to answer for that. I have to confirm facts, check the spellings, make sure things are consistent. A good editor is going to always make you better. So I've never had any sort of battles with editors. It's always been about we're on the same team. Let's make this great, together. Let's make my book great again. I hope I never hear that phrase after the break. But anyway, I don't know. Good editor is always going to make you good. I mean, they're on your side. So yeah.
So taking your film festival book as an example, presumably there are lots of online assets that you could bring to something like that. What's your thinking with respect to accompanying websites to a published piece? And how do you stop that just from becoming a giant blog?
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great question. God, I don't know. I launched my last edition of the book with this little added value of the website, but it's something I need to. It's something I definitely need to. I need to rebuild that, which is why now I feel like, wow, I've got the source of this community locally that could help out. I actually don't think that the blog is a bad idea. I think because especially with a book like this is what sucks actually about print. This is out of date the day it's printed. That's what is the thing that kind of sucks about print. Even though it's kind of cool, the tactile feeling of having a book, it is out of date. The blog just becomes an extension. So I actually don't mind it. It's also a great way to continue to promote the book or further editions of the book as you go through. Rather than doing like a third printing of the book, you might want to do a new revised and updated edition of the book with a, I will say that my advice on that would be like, have a design that's similar, but the primary colors are different. So it's distinguished. No, I'm serious. So like all the editions of the book, they kind of, you can't tell maybe from there, but this is a festival pass. It's like a badge that you would wear at a film festival, but each edition of the book has a different primary color. So you can tell the different editions, they're distinct. So you know you have the latest one. But I do think that a blog is a great extension, and it's also a great promotion, and social media. That's actually like, we were talking about, you talking about introduced me as a writer earlier. I mean, how I make a steady living now is I do social media marketing for movies and celebrities. I worked on everything from writing tweets for the Hateful Eight Twitter account, or lots of other Twitter accounts for movies and celebrities that I cannot name. But it is a form of writing, and I actually think that writing for social media is sometimes even more difficult than writing a book where I've got room to breathe. You've got to be really concise in 140 characters. So I hope that answered your question somewhat. Keep doing a blog. It's a good thing. It's a good extension of your book and your brand. So, okay, yes.
Great presentation.
Oh, thanks. I'm sorry I swore earlier. I have to apologize for that. Please bleep me.
I wrote a book. I'm a contractor, so I wrote a book on how to avoid remodel nightmares. The relationship between contractors and homeowners. I was interviewed in the New York Times 8 years ago. From that, St. Martin's Press called me, interested in a book. I went to New York. The hour meeting turned into 2. They loved it. Then the so-called death of books in 2009 happened, and they said, we really love it, but we need you to develop your own platform. at that time I had no idea what they were talking about, so I just kept Googling myself and posting things about me and remodeling. Then I wrote the book, I went to a writing coach, and I put it on Amazon. So now it's time for me to pump that up, and I don't know, would you suggest getting back into that publishing world or just continuing to grow what I've been doing as far as the social media, maybe printing a copy on my own? What would you say to that?
I would say that social media marketing is your cheapest form of marketing. It's also something that is full court press, a daily thing. I mean, just to keep my audience engaged, I try to tweet it minimally once a day. And if I'm having some adventure, I'm at a Comic-Con in San Diego, I'm at a film festival, then I'm live tweeting something that I'm in the midst of. So what I would suggest for you is, one of the things that people don't tell you is on YouTube, the #1 category on YouTube is how-to. Whenever I don't know whether it's a piece of software, if I don't know how to do it, I'm on YouTube. My son learned how to play the piano from YouTube videos. He was into magic tricks, card tricks, and learning the piano. We got him a keyboard, and he just watched videos on YouTube and learned to play the piano from that. So my suggestion for you is, pump up your social media, but point yourself to a YouTube channel. And you can also, Twitter just extended the amount. It used to be 30 seconds. Now it's like a little over 2 minutes. You can post a video. I would post little videos about remodeling. I'm also sort of a home decoration fetishist. I love, my porn is Dwell magazine. Does anyone here subscribe to Dwell? I love Dwell magazine. I could look at fixtures forever. But yeah, so I would suggest something with a video element, and then social media, and then tie that into get the book. Now the whole thing is you want to vary your messaging. If every message is buy the book, people tune out. If every 10 messages you say, and the book is available, or here's an article about the book, remind people about the book, but don't hammer, because if you or even better, what I do when I do social media marketing for movies, my goal is, what I try to do is create what I call a digital street team. And a digital street team are people that are so engaged and excited about it. Maybe Sam Jackson is in your movie and they're a big Sam Jackson fan, that they're tweeting about your movie, and all I'm doing is retweeting fans from the official account. They love that they're being followed by a verified Twitter account. They think that that's great. They feel in a way a connection to, say, Sam Jackson or whatever celebrity happens to be in the film that I'm working on. So I would say that look for ways to create that digital street team and be engaged. Maybe somebody's having a problem and you're coaching them. Like on Fridays, you're going to do a live Twitter Q&A where you're going to walk someone through how to do some remodel, a simple thing that could be described. I mean, you could do that on a daily basis. Create some sort of calendar where you have those events. But I think social media and video are perfect for what you're doing, especially remodel, where pictures and video is such a big part of it. So YouTube channel and social media, and then push the book, and then updated editions of the book, for sure. And then also, like with the film festival book, I bought a database of travel magazines, and then sent out a query letter so that I could write articles for, like, you know, those airline magazines and whatnot. Like, yeah, I wrote an article in there. Like, you can write, you can promote yourself as an expert, and then I look for I look for ways to live outside of the thing that I created. So, like, you being written about in the New York Times, look for other ways you can live outside of the thing that is what you did. So, yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you.
And I can talk to you about how to build audiences. That's a whole other talk about social media marketing. I'm sure you guys have heard, a lot of that here. I mean, I retweeted when you guys tweeted about me. So thank you for that. Yeah, it's a question right there. Or a question right here. Oh, Mitch.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I guess I am live. Okay.
Yeah.
It's great to hear from you.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed your presentation. It's been said that comedians are the only people in society who have permission to tell the unvarnished truth, to speak what you need to say to pretty much anybody.
Right.
I was wondering if you could give me, from your own experience, an example of, or favorite example when you did that and got the most satisfaction out of it and got away with it because you're a comedian?
Oh, wow. Oh God, yeah. I've said some really dumb things in public and on television. I think that the one that gets the biggest reaction as I talk about, because I'm single, which is the worst, being single these days. And I think that, like, especially with all the apps and whatnot, and so I like to say that, like, dating is like a job interview for fucking. Because it's the same questions as a job interview, you know? Where do you see yourself fucking in 5 years? Tell me about your past fucking experience. Do you fuck overtime? Do you fuck weekends? So it really is, because when you're on a date, you're kind of deciding whether you want to get naked with this person eventually. You know, I'm looking for a best friend where there's nudity involved. So that tends to get a good reaction when I talk about that, because it is kind of the unvarnished truth about dating and how miserable it is today with all those apps. So, yeah, thank you for that, Mitch. That allowed me, you gave me permission to say something really offensive in front of almost 200 people. Thank you. Thank you for that. So it had nothing to do with my talk, but thank you very much. Is there another question over here? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, good morning. Great food for thought in terms of your presentation.
Talking about the dating and fucking thing? Or the...
I mean, it kind of goes the gamut of, from one end of the spectrum to the other. But I just wanted to piggyback on Reva's question in terms of the volume, in terms of how you would use a social media blog or post to kind of get people interested in what you're promoting.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Like, first of all, people do get obsessed with numbers. Like, I've got a high Twitter following, or you can buy followers. I don't ever recommend buying followers unless you're trying to grow an audience. Like, there are algorithms you can run to follow other people and get followbacks. But technically speaking, if you have 10 followers, but each of those followers have 1 million followers, you are more influential than someone who has 100,000 followers, right? So I think it's really talking to that audience and creating a unique hashtag, and you definitely need to research whatever your unique hashtag is, because that's a way to track your progress. A friend of mine created a hashtag called Support Indie Film. He started that. His name is Bill Ostrup, and he started this hashtag Support Indie Film. And he puts it on his posts related to film festivals and independent movies and crowdfunding campaigns. And he checks, and it's unbelievable in a given day how many people are using that hashtag, 500,000 people. So I highly recommend using, coming up with a unique hashtag, and then pre-writing tweets. And now there's a new, Twitter just updated the web-based version of their app. If you go to, I think it's dashboard.twitter.com, there's a Twitter dashboard that allows you to schedule tweets. And their analytics are incredible. I know there's a lot of outside companies like Hootsuite and whatnot. Twitter actually has caught up to what a lot of these outside services have created. I think it's a matter of just consistency. If you're going to tweet between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. daily, tweet 3 to 4 times a day, and use and it's going to be relentless. After a while, it's going to be like, I've been doing this for a month. I'm really not getting some traction. But I do, for my social media marketing company, I have my Twitter is SoMe Unlimited. So it's SOME, which stands for Social Media Unlimited, SoMe Unlimited. Every day I send out one tweet in the morning, and it's just a piece of advice on social media. Because a lot of my friends who ask me about social media can't afford to hire me. So I'm like, well, just read my Twitter feed. It tells you what you're supposed to do. So I think that people are hungry for information. If you can look at like what your competitors are doing and use those same hashtags, because I'll hashtag all of my posts social media tips, social media marketing. Sometimes I can't fit them all in one post. But it's really about distinguishing yourself. No matter how small the audience is, you are the go-to for that thing. whether it's just a daily article from some other source, whether it's reaching out to that source. And what I'm almost always satisfied by, I had this one client called Wayward Nerd. It's at Wayward Nerd. Wayward Nerd is it's a website and it's a social media feed all about traveling to Comic-Cons. It's everything from packing tips to cosplay to everything. And one of the things I'm most proud of is I always do include a photo with every tweet whenever I would tweet from Wayward Nerd, and I tag different things. I'll tag Target, I'll tag big brands, and I always get retweeted by brands. So the one thing is I would also make sure that your feed is clean. Don't swear like I did on stage and say vulgar things. So don't do what I did earlier. So keep your feed clean, because it's unbelievable the number of times I've been retweeted by, like, you know, Pillsbury or General Mills because I was talking about Batman cereal or something. I have a Twitter account called, my personal Twitter account is that Chris Gore, but I'm kind of obsessed with Batman, so I have a Twitter feed just called Bat Chris Gore, where all I talk about is Batman all the time. And I'll reach out to, you know, the official Warner Brothers Twitter feed for Batman v Superman. They've retweeted me. So look for ways that larger brands that are bigger than you in your space, give them a reason to become part of their digital street team, so that they'll retweet you and expose you to their audience, and you'll see your analytics huge. And you can even look at the analytics on your phone. Look at what your biggest tweets are. But that's sort of how I helped build up Wayward Nerd from 0 to they're like almost 60,000 followers now in about 18 months. So, which is pretty good for like an unknown thing.
What's your Twitter account again? That
Chris Gore, ThatChrisGore, that Chris Gore. And then Wayward Nerd is another one, and So Me Unlimited is that's my total. It's just social media tips. So, anyone else with a question? Yes, right here.
Yes.
Okay. We're actually gonna save it for offline. We gotta.
Oh, okay. Oh, we gotta wrap it up.
So please,
okay.
he'll be hanging out. So yeah.
And she had the best question too. I'm
crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Sorry to cut you off. But anyway, we're gonna wrap up with a photo of you down here.
Oh, cool.
With our beautiful audience in the background.
Great.
So.
I need to see.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Great.
Okay. You're all right. Photobomb in the back. Pretend like you're enjoying yourself. Yes. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. One more time. And good. Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.